What's up, everyone? Today on the DNVR Rockies podcast, we are breaking down the first two games of the World Series, talking big storylines. Could Juan Soto end up with the Dodgers after this offseason? We're going to get into it right here on the DNVR Rockies podcast. What is up, everyone? It is a beautiful Monday here in Denver, and we are so pumped to be starting off another week here on the DNVR Rockies podcast. What an incredible day we have today. If you're a fan of sports, today is the day for you. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. We are live from the Toyota Lounge here at the DNVR bar. I'm Christian Saez. I'm excited for today for a lot of reasons. Not only is it Game 3 of the World Series, a World Series that has been iconic, absolutely iconic up to this point, but it's the Sports Equinox Day. And I didn't realize there had only been so few of these in the history of sports. 31 times that this has happened, that we've had a Sports Equinox Day in the history of sports. And basically, if you don't know what a Sports Equinox Day is all of the major sports are playing games today. At some point, you've got 8 NHL games, including the Avs. The Avs have a game tonight against Chicago. You got 11 NBA games, including the Nuggets. Nuggets play, OKC or someone like that tonight? I'd have to check, but 11 NBA games, 2 MLS games, not including the Rapids. Rapids wrapped up with a loss, in LA? Round one, game one. I was talking to Mitch about that a little bit. He said he's not panicked yet. He's feeling okay about things. Got 2 MLS games, Monday Night Football, and Game 3 of the World Series tonight in New York. I mean, it's like Christmas Day. Is there? And I would make the argument that this is probably one of the biggest days across the entire sporting year. I mean, there's not a lot of times that this happens. We have days where you get, a couple of the main sports playing. I think last week we had a couple pretty big days where it was like hockey, basketball, and baseball, but MLS was missing from that. And so, anytime you get all those sports playing on the same time, it's a good day. And we've got a lot of good baseball stuff to talk about as well. As we get into the show, I think one of the big topics that we're going to be covering is this report that the Dodgers are expecting and anticipating to be in the running for Juan Soto in this offseason. So we're going to get into that after the first break. But I have a lot to cover here in this first segment because we had some pretty incredible games over the weekend, starting on Friday. And I want to just go out there and say right off the bat that subtle brag here, or a little humble brag here on the show, I 1,000% called the outcome of Game 1. And if you don't believe me, if you weren't watching our show on Friday, go on DNVR_Rockies Twitter. I posted a clip of it because I said that even though I didn't want this to happen, that the Dodgers would win Game 1 of the World Series by a score of 6-3. And what happened? They won Game 1 by a score of 6-3. So at the end of the show, I'm going to do my Game 3 predictions because we didn't have a show over the weekend, so I didn't get to give you Game 2 predictions. But I'll do Game 3 predictions at the end of the show to see if I can keep the streak going because, we have a lot of time here on the DNVR Rockies show to pay attention to these games. And so I would like to say that I'm very informed about what Game 3, the outcome could look like. So we'll get into that as the end of the show comes up. But look, what a classic we saw in these first two games. Freddie Freeman walk-off grand slam, the Kirk Gibson home run, comparisons, the Joe Davis home run call. An iconic World Series. One of the greatest World Series games I've ever watched. And I absolutely hate that it had to do with the Dodgers because, it's the Dodgers World Series, Dodgers winning the World Series. It's just or winning World Series game 1. It's just not something that I enjoy as a Rockies fan But as a fan of baseball, that was an incredible game. Now, the Dodgers are up 2-0, which is very unfortunate for the Yankees. But I want to put some perspective out there for anti-Dodger fans or even Yankees fans who might be watching this show. Remember, in 1981, the Yankees won the first 2 games of the World Series against the Dodgers, and everyone was thinking that the Yankees were going to move on and pretty much just win out and maybe even sweep the Dodgers. And what ended up happening was after the first 2 wins for the Yankees, the Dodgers came back. They won 4 straight games to win the 1981 World Series. So, if history has said anything about the times that these two teams have played, it means that this series is not over. The Dodgers have a good start. Yes, they are playing very well. And to be honest, the Yankees are playing like crap. But history says that this could turn in New York. Now, if we're talking about statistics, if we're talking about the nerds, statistically, teams who go up 2-0 are 77-15 in the World Series. That's an 84% win rate. So the Yankees do have a lot to overcome. There is no doubt about that. And the biggest, most glaring thing that they have to overcome is that their superstar, Aaron Judge, is hitting like, I can't even think of a good comparison. The dude is hitting in an atrocious fashion. And we're going to get into that in the second segment as well. But I want to talk about a guy who's been crushing it, literally, throughout this entire postseason, but also this World Series. Freddie Freeman has homered in 4 straight World Series games. 2 of them being with the Dodgers here in this year. He homered on Saturday as well, which was overlooked because of how much of a juggernaut that offense for the Dodgers was. But Freddie Freeman, 4 straight games in a World Series that he has homered, and his first home run of this World Series, obviously the walk-off grand slam. People were saying it's reminiscent of Kirk Gibson, his home run with the Dodgers, back in the day on the hobbled leg. The call, Vin Scully's home run call, was the same as Joe Davis's home run call. You probably have seen all of that on Twitter already. But there's a subtle difference that I want to point out between those 2 at-bats. Yes, Freddie Freeman's home run came on the first pitch of the at-bat. Second pitch of Nestor Cortez's appearance in the World Series, which is just a brutal look for the guy. But first pitch of the at-bat for Freddie Freeman, the difference is that for Kirk Gibson, his at-bat lasted 6.5 minutes long. And can I just say, I am so grateful that we are no longer in a position in baseball where we have to wait 6.5 minutes for someone's at-bat to wrap up. Like there were questions when the pitch clock came up of like, is this good for baseball? Baseball, like this is just too much change. No, this proves to me that baseball was headed in the right direction when they implemented the pitch clock, because yes, Kirk Gibson's home run was a pretty cool thing, but having to sit through 6.5 minutes to wait for him to hit that home run, come on. That's why baseball, I think, is kind of a turnoff for some people, just because it took too long. So now the game is speeding up. You don't have an excuse anymore. Baseball is electric in the month of October. There was also some we talk about storylines of that first few games of the World Series. There was some stressful storylines, if you want to say that, for Dodger fans, because Shohei Ohtani ended up looking like he got injured in a slide to second base when he was stealing second in Game 2 of the World Series. Now, from the translations that I was seeing on social media, it looks like the mic picked up what Shohei was saying. They were able to translate that. It sounded like he was having a conversation with his trainer, saying that he thinks he popped his shoulder out of place and that he needed to pop it back in. There was this question of whether or not he'd be good to go for Game 3 tonight. Dave Roberts spoke to the media yesterday, said, yes, Shohei is good to go. There's not going to be a question of whether or not he is playing. As long as he says he's good to go, Shohei, that he's going to be playing. Now, the question that I have for that is, to what level is Shohei Ohtani going to be playing at? To what percentage are we going to see Shohei tonight? Is it going to be 100% Shohei? Probably not. But you could make the argument that no one is playing 100% tonight in the World Series. I mean, you're 170, 180 plus games into a season right now for these teams. Like, these guys are not 100% by any means. So if Shohei Ohtani can get out there and just put together good quality at-bats, that's all you need. And let's not forget, too, Shohei Ohtani has not been the biggest player from a wins and losses standpoint on this Dodgers team. And I hate to say that because the Dodgers are just insane, but the Dodgers have not been winning games because of Shohei Ohtani. They've been winning games with Shohei Ohtani. Freddie Freeman has been winning you games. Tommy Edman has been winning you games. Your starting pitching has been winning you games. Your bullpen has been winning you games. But Shohei Ohtani has just been helping, right? And that's crazy to say that the best player in all baseball, who's having a good series, by the way, is not like in the front running to be the MVP at this moment. It's 100% Freddie Freeman right now. And my guess coming into this series was that it was either going to be Mookie Betts or Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman has been playing really well. Tommy Edman has been playing incredible. But Freddie Freeman is the front runner to be the series MVP, the World Series MVP. I also want to circle back on this injury for Shohei. I don't know if you guys saw this. You probably did if you're on social media. But Yankees fans were in true form, being 100% on brand for Yankees fans, by cheering for Shohei when he got hurt. And not cheering for him, but cheering for the injury to Shohei Ohtani. I'm sure you probably saw it. There were a lot of Yankees fans, videos circulating on social media of when Shohei Ohtani was laying on the dirt, down with an injury. Yankees fans were cheering and celebrating the injury. Now, yes, that's on brand for Yankees fans. I wouldn't expect anything different for the majority of Yankees fans. However, there were a lot of Dodgers fans in the Yankees fans' mentions on social media saying, oh, you guys are a trash franchise. You guys are a trash fan base. Now, let's not pretend, Dodger fans, that you guys are above that. Let's not forget that Dodger fans are the type of people who can't get through a regular season game 81, game 74 in the middle of July without having 5 or 6 different fans arrested for beating each other up throughout a game. Like, come on. Are we going to sit here as Dodger fans, not me, but as Dodger fans, other people, and say, oh, look at the Yankees fans. They're so trashy. They're booing or they're cheering when Shohei got hurt. Come on. You're telling me you, as a fan base, are above that? Get real with yourself. You're the Dodgers, right? This isn't the Colorado Rockies where, we have incredible fans, but we're a pretty docile fan base. We're not going out and just like beating people to a pulp for no reason for most games. That's not our vibe. We're going to Coors Field because we enjoy the vibes, right? So I just had a hard time with seeing Dodger fans acting all high and mighty over Yankees fans cheering for Shohei Ohtani getting injured when you would have done the same damn thing. So let's not be unrealistic here. I wanted to finish up this segment by saying that even if Shohei Ohtani was to not come back, to not get cleared for playing in Game 3, the Dodgers would have no problem, I think. Given the way they've been playing, if things continue the way that they have in this series, the Dodgers have not had to rely on Shohei winning you games. Again, I said it just a few minutes ago. Shohei has been helping your team. He's been getting on base. He's stealing, although he did get thrown out on that stolen base, the stolen base attempt that he got hurt on. But he's not been the guy. So, and your guy who has been the guy, Freddie Freeman, has also been hurt. So, this is a Dodger lineup that's all banged up, and they're still going and putting up big numbers. Now, Judge has been slumping, defensive mistakes for the Yankees, the shaky bullpen, and pitching, bad coaching decisions. That's all been why the Yankees have been losing these games. And then pair that with the Dodgers just being a good baseball team. So after this break, We're going to take a break in just a moment. But after this break, we're going to talk about the Juan Soto free agency, whether or not he will end up a Dodger, and if he doesn't, where might he end this next year? Will the Yankees end up signing him? We'll talk about that in just a moment. And we'll also break down some of the woes that are going on for the Yankees. Big woes for the Yankees right now. How do they overcome that in Game 3? We're gonna break that down here in just a moment. But before we get into that, got to give a big shout out to our friends over at UC Health, because right now, UC Health is doing a new initiative called the Ready, Set, Co initiative, which basically is just a way to help Coloradans live their healthier lives. And look, we all love living healthy lives. My goodness, sounds like I'm saying, something like a sign that's hanging on my mom's ceiling. Live, laugh, love. Well, at UC Health, live, laugh, love is a legitimate thing, because the Ready, Set, Co initiative is really just helping Coloradans get back to living their healthiest lives, and also to help Colorado as a state get back to being the healthiest state in the country. Look, we're on a race to 100,000 subscribers right now on YouTube. UC Health is on a race to get Colorado back to being the healthiest state in the country, and I think that is a very admirable initiative. I love what we're doing here, and any chance I get to be able to make some little changes to live a healthier life, that is an incredible thing to do. So wake up a little earlier tomorrow, maybe eat a salad or get some extra protein in, go to the gym, go on a walk, take your dog out one more time. I know your dog would love that, and it'll be good for you too. So whatever it is, you've got to take advantage of the Ready, Set, Co initiative with UC Health. And if you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Co challenge, click the link in the show notes of this podcast or go to uchealth.org/Ready, Set, Co, spelled C-O. Also got to give a shout out to our friends over at Toyota. Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. They are an incredible vehicle. If you are not already familiar with the incredible things that Toyota does, well, get on board now. Toyota is the best in the business. Not only do they have cars and vehicles that last forever, and I mean that, forever. My 2007 Toyota Highlander is going on 250,000 miles, and it is not stopping. But they are also stylish, they're affordable, they're pretty sweet. So, whatever you're into, whether you're into hybrids, whether you're into good gas mileage, off-roading, trucks, sedans, SUVs, you want a car that can fit 6 car seats, they've got plenty of SUVs that can help you out with that. So whatever you're into, you can find what your heart desires at Toyota. You can visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you: AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson's Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson's Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. Okay, let's talk free agency. We're going to talk a lot about free agency this offseason because the Rockies hopefully will make some moves in free agency this year, despite having a payroll cut, despite, being timid to make moves in previous years. We hope that the Rockies will make some moves in this offseason. Now, is there one player that I can tell you right now the Rockies will not sign? Juan Soto. Why? Because he's going to take probably about $600 million. And the Rockies, they already said they're cutting payroll. Their TV revenue has been low. No chance. So I'm going to dispel that right now. There's bound to be someone who says the Rockies should go after Juan Soto. It's not going to happen. Okay? Why? Because there's teams like the Dodgers who are going to do this. They're going to go pursue Juan Soto. They're going to go put out $750 or a little less than $750 million to go get a guy like Juan Soto to build into this lineup. So before I talk about whether or not I actually think this is going to happen, can I just say that this would be the most demoralizing thing for the New York Yankees if they go and lose the World Series. God forbid they get swept in this World Series to the Dodgers. And then Juan Soto says, you know what? I'm going to go sign with the Dodgers this offseason. Further, adding fuel to the fire. That is the best lineup in all of baseball, probably since the Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig Yankees. So, hey, I don't know if you're a Yankee hater, maybe this is good for you. Maybe you want to see Juan Soto sign with the Dodgers, to say, hey, you know what? Screw you, Yankees fans. You guys had your moments back in the day with Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig and company. Now it's our turn. But this would be absolutely demoralizing. So that means to me, this is beyond just the wins and losses, series statistics, all that kind of stuff. This is must-win baseball for the Yankees from here on out. You have to maintain your integrity as a dynasty, as a franchise of winners. Because right now the Dodgers look like they could be frontrunners to signing Juan Soto. Now let me put a little hypothetical out there. If the Dodgers were to sign Juan Soto, their lineup would be Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Juan Soto, Freeman, Teoscar, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Tommy Edman, and Andy Pages. You can't tell me that's not the greatest lineup in all baseball. Tommy Edman, a guy who has just like out of nowhere became one of the highlights of this postseason. Andy Pages, who has been fine. And every single other player except for Will Smith has been great and has the potential to be an all-star. Right? Like, what are we doing here? And assuming they pay him $600 million, which is what I would imagine that he would get, the Dodgers would have three players with a plus $300 million contracts. Now, Burge, I see you talking here in the comments in the Toyota chat saying we need a salary floor. It's equivalent to deal with the John Fishers of baseball and something along the lines of greater luxury salary cap to deal with the, what is that word? Guggenheims? Haven't heard that one. That's a new one to me. There you go. Yeah, knows it. Spending with impunity. Look, I can't agree with you more, man. Like this, it's going to further divide what already is a very divided baseball world in which the A's, the Rockies, and the Rockies I'm throwing in there because we don't like to spend, on better players, but we are actually higher up on the payroll world than most. But the White Sox, the A's, like those kind of teams, the Angels. How do you compete with teams like the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets? Like there's no way. Even the Giants. A team a fellow NL West team that spends a lot of money. And they put a lot of pride into what they do and what product they put out there on the field. And I would love to say that there will be a salary cap in baseball one day, but I don't think it's going to happen. Why? Because baseball is raking in money right now, having the Dodgers and Yankees in the World Series. And I was going to talk about this later in the show, but right now, through the first two games of the World Series, you're averaging 14.5 million viewers in the U.S. That's a 65% increase from the World Series we saw last year. So you can argue that we would love to see the underdogs, the Moneyball moments in baseball, where the Texas Rangers break onto the scene and win a World Series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Or God, in a miracle chance that the Rockies get to a World Series. But I said it on a show just probably about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Yes, we in Colorado would absolutely love it if the Rockies made the World Series. Don't get me wrong. The rest of the world would probably hate it, and it would probably be bad for baseball. And my follow-up to that is screw them. I don't care. Go Rockies. But when you're talking dollar bills, when you're talking executives in baseball trying to line their pockets, which let's be real, this is a business. Major League Baseball is one of the most profitable businesses in all of sports. And they outperformed the NBA last year in profits. They were third to soccer as a world sport and the NFL. It's about money. And so if the Dodgers can be a super team like the Golden State Warriors were for so long, I don't see that changing. And let's make that comparison. If we're going to talk NBA, super teams, The NBA is a little bit different because they do have a salary cap, but they have players who will dictate where guys go. You have guys like James Harden or Kevin Durant or Joel Embiid who say, you know what? I'm not going to play. I don't want to play for this team anymore. So I'm going to do a holdout, or I'm going to basically force your hand in the ownership to get rid of me so I can go to a team that's going to win. So yeah, there's a salary cap, but the players have more control in the NBA than they do in baseball. The difference in baseball is the players don't have as much control. The ownership does because there's no salary cap. So if you have a guy in LA who says, I'm willing to drop $1 billion a year and to bring in guys like Shohei and Juan Soto and Yamamoto and all of those players, then there you go. There's your golden ticket. You now have the best team in baseball. And that's not changing anytime soon. And the Yankees are in the same boat. Now, the Rockies don't historically, they don't spend like the Yankees and the Dodgers do, but they're not a team that holds on to all of their money. The Rockies' issue is that they've put money in the wrong places. And I just got done talking to a couple of our coworkers here at DNVR about this offseason, and I keep getting this conversation of, God, I hope this offseason is just a reason for the Rockies to move on from Chris Bryant. And while, Rockies fans, and myself included, from a business standpoint, I would love to, or a fan standpoint, I would love to not have to have that be a damper, the Chris Bryant roster spot be a damper on our season. It's not going anywhere because you talk about bad business decisions. You gave him a guaranteed contract of 7 years. So you want to cut Chris Bryant or move him or trade him or whatever. You're basically, if you want to trade him, you're basically going to be doing what the Broncos did to Russell Wilson by saying, we're going to pay someone to take him off our hands. Well, the Rockies, I don't see the Monforts doing that. You're not cutting him because you're praying that there's a hope that he has some sort of talent left in his arsenal. And you just kind of going to have to eat this one. So it's really unfortunate that the Dodgers are in a position right now that they could continue to pad their lineup with a guy like Juan Soto. But let's hope for baseball's sake that a team like the Phillies wakes up a little bit and says, you know what? We got bounced in the first round of the playoffs after being the 1 seed. We're going to go out and spend on a guy like Juan Soto to give ourselves a real shot. I wouldn't mind the Phillies putting a real, competitive edge to compete with the Dodgers. I just don't want to see the Dodgers in the World Series like 5 times in a row. And that's what it's looking like it's going to be if they're able to get through another year by signing another guy like Juan Soto. Before we hit this next break, I want to break down some of the woes that the Yankees have gone through in these last 2 games. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, some of the stats that have come out of Aaron Judge's first 2 games with the Yankees. Aaron Judge, in this postseason, is hitting a $150 with a .605 OPS in 11 games this postseason. That's bad. Through the World Series, he is 1 for 9 with 6 strikeouts. Woof. That's not going to get you anywhere. So look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that my stuff when I was in my prime was anywhere close to major league stuff. But I was a decent pitcher. I was a decent pitcher in my heyday. And I loved pitching to guys like Aaron Judge because he has a glaring, and I mean glaring, hole in his swing. And everyone in the world can see it. And I know Aaron Judge can see it. But for some reason, he has not been able to figure out how to fix that. And I think there's an interesting comparison that I want to make between him and a Nuggets player that has had similar basketball-related struggles in similar situations. So we're going to talk about that after the break here in just a moment. But before we get into that, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Coors Light, because Coors Light is the most refreshing and, in my opinion, best light beer on the market. Coors Light, I say it all the time, it goes with any environment. It goes with any vibe. You can go out to a sporting event, have some Coors Light. You can stay at home, hanging out with some friends, have a Coors Light. Go to a restaurant, go to a sports bar, have a Coors Light. We've got Coors Light all over the DNVR bar here. We've even got Coors Light sitting in a bucket right in front of my face, tempting me all day because it's that good. Just that nice, cold, refreshing Coors Light. But look, even though it's getting cooler, apparently, according to my buddy Greg Perez, meteorologist at Fox 31, says it's supposed to snow this week. That's disgusting. Just because it's getting cold does not mean that you don't have plenty of opportunities to still drink Coors Light. Because look, it might be cold outside, but you come inside, you go to the DNVR bar, you're hanging out at a watch party, and it gets a little toasty in here. The decibel levels get raising up a little bit. The heat in the room, the energy is rising. You want to know the best way to cool down? Crack open a nice, cold, refreshing Coors Light. Choose chill by choosing Coors Light. And right now you can get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instant Cart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company in Golden, Colorado. Well, we also have to, of course, give a big shout out to our friends over at Shady Rays. Shady Rays is the best in the business when it comes to sunglasses. And I have had a pair of Shady Rays really since we became a partner with Shady Rays years ago when I wasn't even working here at DNVR. My wife, Marissa, came home and she's like, hey, you got to check out these new sunglasses. We just got this new sponsorship and they're really, really good. And they have some great deals. And so we immediately went online. We used our discount. We got some great discounts at Shady Rays, and I have not turned back since then. Their polarized sunglasses are incredible. And I've had polarized sunglasses my whole life. I've loved fishing my entire life. I played baseball my entire life. And so polarized sunglasses was always just the way that I went. But with Shady Rays, you can get sunglasses that are affordable. They're effective. They're durable. They're stylish. They're really, they kind of check all the boxes when it comes to getting sunglasses. And of course, they look amazing, which is what you want when it comes to sunglasses. And like I said, they've got some incredible deals for our listeners exclusively. We don't even get these deals at DNVR. You guys only get these deals. Shady Rays has their best deals of the season. You can head to shadyrays.com. Use code DNVR for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars or more by over 300,000 people. Can you rate sunglasses more than 5 stars? If you could, they'd be rated more than 5 stars because they are truly that good. All right. So we're talking about Aaron Judge, the big hole in his swing. What is that hole in his swing? Dude can't hit off speed and he can't hit anything off the plate. Start anything. Start a slider, middle away, and he's toast. They cannot touch it. I know I've played with guys before who are 6'5" plus, and it is a challenge when pitchers know how to change directions in different categories of the strike zone. You can go high, you can go low. But if you can change the hitter's eye, as they like to call it, it's pretty much impossible sometimes if you've got a knee-breaking slider or cutter or changeup. So if I'm Schmidt, the guy who's pitching tonight for the Yankees, and I'm going up against Aaron Judge, I am sitting off the plate, starting a slider, curveball, whatever it is, sweeper, starting, low and away, breaking outside of the plate. See if he even is taking some of those pitches, like, taking a little bit of a jab at some of those pitches. If he is, I'm going back, maybe change up, coming back inside, just change directions, and then going back away. And that's just by rinse and repeat. Every once in a while, throw a fastball way out of the zone, high and away, or maybe high and inside, to just change his eye angle. But that's about it. I mean, that's the rinse and repeat. So how does Aaron Judge fix this? You crowd the plate. That's the only thing you can do. Look at how Stanton has been in this postseason. The dude's been up. I mean, his front foot is up against that batter's box. Crowd the plate. So I'm curious to see if Aaron Judge makes an adjustment here to fix this. Because if he doesn't, with the Yankees playing the way that they're playing, pretty much being only Giancarlo Stanton, they're going to have some struggles. Now, here's the comparison that I alluded to before the break, right? Aaron Judge has been historically bad in this postseason for doing the things that he does really well. He's hitting $150 in the postseason. He's 1 for 9 in the World Series with 6 strikeouts, right? And he had one of the best regular seasons of any hitter, right? And for some reason, he just can't figure out how to get his swing around in the postseason. So here's the comparison that I want to make. If you guys remember how Michael Porter Jr. was playing in the Nuggets championship run, the year that the Nuggets won the championship, Michael Porter Jr. could not hit a 3 to save his life. And it was so bad that, like, we were all, as Nuggets fans, holding our breath every time Michael Porter Jr. would pull up for 3. And we're talking one of the best 3-point shooters in the Nuggets lineup, especially that year. And for some reason, the guy could not find a 3 to save his life. So I credit Michael Porter Jr. and Coach Malone, because what did they do? They said, you know what? Yes, your game is the 3, but that's not all you can do. We know you can get up there and get boards and help your team in another way. So if you're not feeling confident with the 3, then you know what? We're going to switch things up. We're going to have you go down, crash the glass, and try to pick up boards. And what did that do? Even though Michael Porter Jr.'s numbers were not super high, especially beyond the arc in the championship run, he helped the Denver Nuggets win a championship because of his ability to adjust and change up his game in a way that helped his team. Aaron Judge is not hitting home runs right now, and he's not getting on base in the ways that he normally does. So how does he make the proper adjustments so that he can help his team? Does that mean crowd the plate, take a walk? If you can walk 2 out of 5 at-bats in a game for Aaron Judge, that's a win for me. That's helping your team. Do you shorten up your swing, choke up on the bat, and try to start poking things the other way? I know that's not his game, but he's not working in his game right now. So how does Aaron Judge make the adjustment in a way that's going to help his team be successful? Because he's a professional baseball player. Yes, he can hit a ball 500 feet, but he also has been able to do other things. So for the Yankees, Aaron Judge needs to be able to make an adjustment if they want to have a chance to win Game 3 of the World Series. I don't need to see a home run from him, but I need to see him getting on base. So that's, I just think that's a fitting comparison between the two situations. The Yankees are returning home for the first time to play a World Series game in New York since 2009. Now, New York is an absolute beast to play a baseball game in. And I had talked about this last week, and I debated with Kale, our producer at the time, about what's harder to play in. Dodger Stadium in New York. And Dodger Stadium is a hard place to play at, especially when their fans actually show up on time. Which is, never. When you're paying $5,000 for a ticket, you're taking a sick day from work, man. Like you're getting there early. You're paying a nice little vacation salary right there to go watch a baseball game. You better show up early. So Dodgers fans were in their seats on time. I give them credit for that World Series little moment. But I would say New York is a pretty brutal place to play in, if not the hardest. If you've been watching the Comeback documentary on the 2004 Boston Red Sox, and they show how brutally difficult that World Series or that stadium is to play a World Series game in New York, right? Like Yankees fans, they're going to give it to you. So I don't think this is going to be an easy game by any mean for the Dodgers. Now, what has been good for this series, outside of the Dodgers winning 2 games in a row, which I've absolutely hated, It's been good for baseball. Okay, we knew this from the start, but it's been even better than we expected given the heroics of these games. The Dodgers and Yankees averaged, I said it earlier, 14.5 million viewers in the U.S. That's not including Japan. We have not gotten the international results of the ratings yet. And can I also just add on, speaking of the international feed, our boy Spilly, Ryan Spilborghs, the normal color analyst for the Rockies, has been on the international feed, the international English broadcast feed, with Giants broadcaster Dave Fleming for this World Series, which is pretty cool. Shout out to Ryan Spilborghs for getting to continue his broadcasting career in a pretty big moment. And he got to be on the call of that Freddie Freeman World Series game winner, which, another side note to that, Dave Fleming is the radio broadcaster for the San Francisco Giants. Also does some TV games, but, usually the radio broadcaster. Incredible guy. Also does... WCC games, West Coast Conference games. That's how I know Dave Fleming as well. When I was in Spokane, he used to do Gonzaga games. So Dave Fleming, incredible broadcaster. But he is the, true to the blue, true to the orange and black Giants broadcaster. And he had to call the Freddie Freeman walk-off home run. How weird must that have been? You spend your entire professional career, and I know he's a professional. He did an incredible job on that call. But that's like, Spilly too. Spilly's in there having the time of his life, getting to call this crazy game, and in the back of his head, he's got to be saying like, God, this is the Dodgers. Like, I'm a Rocky. Like, what am I doing here? Kyle, got to give a shout out to Kyle in the Toyota chat, asking who's the hero and villain of this World Series. I'll dive deeper into this in the last segment when I preview this Game 3, but I will, just for the sake of answering your question right here and now. Hero and villain of the World Series. The hero has to be Freddie Freeman right now. It has to be, right? Like, you can't go anywhere else. Freeman has 2 home runs, one of them one of the biggest home runs in Dodger history, in recent history at least. So if you're rooting for the Dodgers, it's got to be Freddie Freeman. Villain of this World Series, I don't know if there's a villain, a specific villain of the World Series yet, but I think Juan Soto could be that villain. I think he could be that guy. If the Yankees come back here and win a big game tonight for Game 3, I think Juan Soto is brewing up a big game. And he could be the villain, especially given all the conversations of where he's going to end up next year. So, yeah, TBD on that one. But the hero, for sure, Freddie Freeman so far. He's just been having an incredible year. So, speaking of that, though, and that's a good point, Kyle, and I'm glad you brought that up, but I want to use it as a jumping point into asking you guys, what's your favorite World Series moment ever, right? And I want you to think about this because I've only got 2 minutes before I got to hit a break. So I don't want to answer this question yet. We will answer this after this break. But I want to know, what's your favorite World Series moment? So think about it. Shoot me a message in the Toyota chat. Favorite World Series moment ever. And because we've got just 1 minute before we hit a break, like I said, I'll answer that question after this break. But I want to give a crazy comparison real quick before we hit this last break. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It just kind of popped up on my feed the other day. But this is a crazy comparison between Babe Ruth and Shohei Ohtani. Okay? Babe Ruth, through his first 159 home runs, start over. Babe Ruth had 159 home runs through his first 674 career games. Shohei Ohtani had 160 home runs in his first 674 career games. So just a 1 home run difference in their first 674 career games. Babe Ruth, as a pitcher, had a win-loss record of 35-18, pitching in his first 455 innings. Shohei Ohtani had a win-loss record of 35-19 in his first 455 innings pitched. So again, only a 1-game win and loss record between those two comparisons. That's a crazy comparison between one of the best, not one of the best, the best pitcher-hitter combo in Babe Ruth, and now the current best pitcher-hitter combo in baseball in Shohei Ohtani. And can I just throw a little asterisk moment here? A little parentheses side note. Who the hell figured this out? Yaya's been a producer of mine before when I've said this before, but like, what are we doing? Who finds this? Who figures out this very, very specific statistical comparison? Oh, 455 innings pitched for Babe Ruth. I wonder where Shohei Ohtani was at in 455 innings pitched. Like, what a weird thing. But also, to whoever did that, thank you for that. We appreciate it, because I wouldn't have thought of that. Leave it to the nerds. They keep baseball afloat. Like I said, gotta hit a break here. But after the break, I want to go through what's the favorite World Series moment ever. Okay? We're going to go through that here in just a moment. Before we get into that, though, got to give a shout out to our friends over at Bet365, because at Bet365, we don't do ordinary. Every single sport is epic when it comes to Bet365. And I talked about it at the beginning of the show. Today is the sports equinox day. 8 NHL games, 11 NBA games, 2 MLS games, a Monday Night Football game, and Game 3 of the World Series. So if you are a sports bettor, if you are not a sports bettor, whoever you are, if you have a cell phone and a bank account, tonight's the night. Today's the day. Download the Bet365 app. Use code DNVR365 when you sign up. You can get some incredible deals. A bet and get offer by placing a bet of $5 or more and getting $200 in bonus bets. First bet safety net offer, placing a bet of up to $1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a match refund and bonus bets. We have some incredible boosts with DNVR. Whatever it is, you have no excuse. It is a beautiful day to go bet on some sports. There are so many great ways to bet on sports. You could do baseball, football, hockey, whatever it is, whatever you're into, whatever your thing is. You can do it all. You can do them all. Maybe you can have your own little sports betting equinox day where you place a bet on every single major sport. I don't know, whatever you're into. You got to check out our friends, though, over at Bet365, because they are truly incredible. And they've got some incredible deals. So download that Bet365 app. Use code DNVR365 when you sign up, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Well, guys, I gotta say, we have some incredible events coming up right here in DNVR this week, next week, all around the corner. First and foremost, DNVR Nuggets Takeover, November 2nd. At 5 p.m., they're playing the Jazz. And not only do you get all the great things that you get when you do a takeover with DNVR, and I've been a part of a handful of them. All right, you get to hang out in a suite, you get to take the bus, pregame at the bar, drinks are included, food. It is tickets. It's a great deal. But this time, the DNVR Nuggets Takeover, you get to go courtside before the game starts to be courtside watching pregame warmups. How cool is that? You get to go stand next to 7 feet a million Nikola Jokic and watch him hitting the Sombor Shuffle out there right like 15 feet away from you. It does not get better than that. Nuggets Takeover, November 2nd, 5 p.m. versus the Jazz. Now, here's the kicker, though. We've only got 10 or less tickets available for that because it's going to be incredible. Everyone wants to be a part of this. So you got to, get on your phones, get on your computer right now. Tell your wife, tell your husband, hey, I am going to the DNVR Nuggets Takeover on November 2nd. You could either join me or I'm just going to go by myself or go with friends or whatever it is, right? It's going to be a blast. So go to thednvr.com/events to figure out more information on that. We've also got a Nuggets watch party the day before that, November 1st at 7:30 p.m. I'm not going to get too deep into that. Watch parties are always incredible, though, here at the DNVR bar. So check out some of the events coming up at thednvr.com/events. All right. I asked the question before the break. What's your favorite World Series moment ever? Okay? And if you're hanging with us in the Toyota chat, shoot me a message. Let me know what your favorite World Series moment ever. Now, this is a tough one because the Rockies have only been in the World Series once, in 2007. But I will say, because I feel as this is a DNVR Rockies podcast, it's fitting for me to to at least include my favorite Rockies World Series moment. And it happened to be the anniversary of this moment yesterday, And that is Matt Holliday's 3-run home run at Coors Field in Game 3 of the 2007 World Series against the Red Sox. It ended up putting the Rockies within 1. It was 6-5 at that point with that 3-run home run. It gave the Rockies hope. Look, I know that the series didn't go the way the Rockies wanted to, but it gave us hope, right? And it gave Coors Field a chance to explode. And that's all we could ask for, you know? I mean, we would have loved to have a World Series championship there. But if we're going beyond the Rockies, and this is not a team that this next one is not a team that I actually like. I've rooted against this team my entire life. But this was one of the most incredible World Series moments that I've ever watched in my life. And that was in 2011. And if you can remember what happened in 2011, you probably already know what I'm talking about. Game 6 of the World Series, Cardinals and Rangers. And David Freese, after tying the game in the 9th inning, in the most improbable way, he comes in extra innings and hits a walk-off home run in Game 6 of the World Series to win it. And Joe Buck had that iconic call, actually, honoring his father in that call. Many people didn't realize that, where he says, the ball gets hit, and he goes, "We'll see you tomorrow night," and just lets it breathe. And, it gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. And I could care less about David Freese and the freaking Cardinals, but what a moment. Growing up, though, as a kid, I've told you guys before, I won't hide it. I grew up in a family that loved the Giants. We were big Giants fans. My family grew up, in San Francisco or in that general area, right? And so I come from a long line of Giants and or A's fans, and those clash pretty hard. But some of my family is former Oakland A's fans. Some of my family's Giants fans. So I grew up watching a lot of Giants baseball, and I can remember one of the more memorable World Series moments for me. There's 2 of them. Pablo Sandoval, the Panda, the big Panda, hitting 3 home runs in Game 1 of the 2012 World Series. That was pretty wild. My mom was telling me on the phone, actually before this, she was reminding me that I was actually working at a little ice cream shop that day, and I was listening to the game on the radio. And her and my sister were at home watching the game and came driving to this tiny little ice cream shop that I was working at in the middle of October. It was pouring down rain. No one was in there. And they come in and they're celebrating, all pumped up because Pablo Sandoval just hit 3 home runs in the World Series. That was a pretty good moment. Also, I was in San Francisco with my family for the 2010 World Series when Sergio Romo, former Grand Junction Rocky, by the way, Sergio Romo, when he came in to get the close on their game, striking out, who was it? Nelson Cruz, I believe it was, to win the 2010 World Series in Detroit. That was a pretty wild moment. I was in San Francisco at the sports bar that's connected to, at the time it was AT&T Stadium, the Giants Stadium. Now it's Oracle Park, and I was in the midst of. I was extremely underage and was at the bar. With like 500 other people. It was probably the first experience that ever got me close to experiencing what it's like at the DNVR bar when we had like Avs Stanley Cup run and Nuggets championship run. Like it was those vibes. People were just chucking beer, and I was like 10. No, I think I was 13 actually. Literally, I was 13. My sister was 10. And then we went outside and people were like flipping cars in downtown San Francisco. And I remember my dad telling me, like, this is not safe. We actually need to leave. And now as an adult, I'm like, why did I leave? Like, that was incredible. So that was a good memory for me. But yeah, hey, if let me know on Twitter too, your guys' favorite World Series moments. You can follow me on Twitter at CJJ Saez or Rockies Twitter at DNVR_Rockies. But yeah, let's talk preview though, because we got a good game tonight. Walker Buehler, Clark Schmidt on the bump. Buehler for the Dodgers, Clark Schmidt for the Yankees. Now, Buehler and Schmidt, interesting little side, storyline here. They've never actually faced the opposing team that they're pitching against. Walker Buehler has never pitched against the Yankees, and Clark Schmidt has never pitched against the Dodgers. So that's kind of weird. That's kind of an interesting little storyline there. But my big question mark here with the whole Walker Buehler Dodgers kind of pitching situation is, what version of Walker Buehler are we going to get? Because if you look at him throughout the majority of the regular season and even most of his games in the postseason, he's barely gotten through 4 innings this year, aside from 1 game. And the Dodgers have already announced that they're planning on going for a bullpen game in Game 4. If Walker Buehler doesn't get out of the 4th inning or less, I think the Dodgers might have to reconsider that bullpen game. They might end up having to make today a bullpen game. So be aware of the pitching situation for the Dodgers. I think it could shift as the game goes on. Another storyline to think about here for this game, for the Yankees. The Yankees are 2-14 when they have runners in scoring position. That's terrible. So just got to fix that. No breakdown there. Tommy Kahnle, who's a reliever for the Yankees, in his, 3 games that he's pitched in this postseason, he's thrown 52 pitches, and all 52 of those have been changeups. Has there ever been a streak, anything like that, in the history of baseball? Like, that's crazy. How do you get away with throwing, great changeup or not, how do you get away with throwing only changeups in today's baseball world? They know it's coming. So are we going to see Tommy Kahnle continue to throw changeup after changeup? I have no idea. But we'll find out, right? So look, here's the keys to the game for the Yankees. Because the Yankees, this is a must-win game for the Yankees. I said it at the top of the show. The Yankees were up 2-0 in 1981 when they were playing the Dodgers in the World Series. And the Dodgers ended up winning 4 consecutive games to win the World Series. So it's not unheard of for the Yankees. They are not out of it. However, statistics show, and I will tell you right now, if you lose tonight, the World Series is done. Dodgers win the World Series, start planning the parade. So this is the most important game of the entire year for the New York Yankees. And it's in New York. You cannot lose this game if you're a Yankees fan, player, coach, whatever. So keys to the game for the Yankees, it's just one. Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge needs to adjust. I already talked about the comparison between him and Michael Porter Jr. I won't get back into that, but you got to find a way to help your team win. So what's the prediction here? Because my prediction for Game 1 that I made on the show was spot on. So what's the prediction for Game 3? I predict, because it is a must-win game for the Yankees, I think they will play with must-win intensity. I think the Yankees fans will show up. I think there will be hatred and bad blood in this game. I think Juan Soto will, taunt as much as his little heart desires every time he gets on base, every time he gets into the batter's box. And I think the Yankees will win 6-4. That's my prediction, 6-4. I'm not going to get into details because I will leave it as vague as that. But I think the Yankees can pick this one up 6-4. All right? Look, guys, I gotta make an announcement before we wrap up the show. It has taken me a while. But finally, after 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, I don't even know how long I've been here, 5 months of being at DNVR now with the Rockies, I'm finally on Discord. I finally got it. So if you guys like to hang out on Discord, I will be checking out Discord throughout the day, right? This World Series is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of storylines. I now that I'm logged in, I see that everyone has already gotten a head start for years on me. So I'm gonna be jumping in there and talking some smack to all of you Dodger lovers. Although I don't, from what I've seen, I didn't see any Dodgers fans yet. Hopefully there aren't any in that Discord. But look, yeah, I'll be there in the Discord, so come hang out with me there. Also, we are currently at DNVR in the race to 100,000 subscribers. We're going to be doing a big event this week. If we can get close to 100,000 subscribers, we are going to be throwing a huge party here at DNVR. So we're going to be pushing it, all of our shows. If you have not already subscribed, but you consume the content that we put together here at DNVR, please drop us a subscription on YouTube, because we are so close. So, like I said, if you like what we do at DNVR and you support the podcast, the best way to do that is by subscribing. Tell your friends, tell your neighbor, tell whoever you can, right? We love you guys. We appreciate, your support and hanging out with us. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. I especially appreciate you guys because it's going to be a long off season, and we're here to hang out with you guys. So also want to say, keep up. Last announcement. Keep up with DNVR Rockies Twitter. We have a huge show, a little surprise show tomorrow with some big guests, some big, topics. It is going to be huge tomorrow. First new version of the show that's going to be debuting tomorrow. It's going to be a special treat. So hang with us on Twitter. It's going to be a lot of announcements coming tomorrow morning. But that's going to do it. Shout out to our producers for the awesome help here today. We love you guys. We'll see you next time here on the DNVR Rockies podcast.
We all silly like